myself Jatan Mathasolia, and today we are going to solve another LeetCode question. So question number is 1299 and the title is replace elements with greatest element on right side. Description is given an array, replace every element in that array with the greatest element among the elements to its right and replace the last element with -1. After doing so, return the array. So uh, the basic logic of this question is it says we have to check all the right side element of the current element, and from that element we have to find the maximum and replace that with the current element. And for the last element, because there is no element after it, so we have to replace it with -1. So in example 1, array is 17, 18, 5, 4, 6 and 1. So in output we are getting this because firstly we have on the first element on 17. So we have to check the all elements after the current element. So we have to check the array this. So 18, 5, 4, 6 and 1. So from all of this 18 is the greatest. So we have to replace the current element with that. So here in output we replace 17 with 18. After that, in our original array, we move on the second element, and that is 18. So we have to check the remaining array, and in that the greatest is 6, means the maximum is 6 from this 4 elements. So we have to replace this current element 18 with 6. Same as remaining 4 of this, with remaining 3 of this, and when we arrive on the last element, and because after that there is no element, we have to replace it with -1. So after this, the final output looks like this. And in example 2, if we have only one element in our array, then we directly replace it with -1. And here it says we have to return the original array. So we have to update the original array. We don't have to make a new array. So now, if I tell you the core logic to solve this question, so first let's go with the brute force. So in brute force, we use two loops, two for loops, and in that first from the first for loop we traverse the original array. And as I as the explanation here, our brute force approach is the same as that. So for the first for loop, it traverses the array. So for the first element, we run the second for loop from the next of the current element. So for the first case, first for loop I becomes 0, so array of 0 is 17, and the second for loop for in that j starts from I plus 1 and goes till the length of the array. So the second loop is run from the next element of current element to the end of the array, and in that we find the maximum number and replace it with the current number, and we do this to all elements except last one. When we arrive on the last one, we apply if condition. If I becomes the last index, then we directly replace it with -1, and after that we return the array. But in brute force approach, we are using two for loops and two for loops. So that's why the time complexity becomes order of n square. And here in constraints it says us that length of array goes till 10 raised to 4 and elements in the array goes till 10 raised to 5. So in worst case scenario we have to traverse the whole array, and for that the time it taken is very long. So for that we are getting too much millisecond after submit the code. So for that, here I am writing the optimal approach to solve this question. So I write the solution and then I will explain you. So let's write the solution. First of all, I will take a variable named max and assign it a value of -1. After that, in the optimal approach, I run a single for loop and in the reverse order. Means I run a for loop from the last element of array and goes till the first element. So let's run that for loop. So it's I starts from array dot size minus 1 and goes till 0 and I minus minus. Now here, for the each element of the array, I apply a if condition. If the current element of array is greater than max, then I will do some operations. So first I will assign a new variable named temp and give it a value of max. And after that, if array of I is greater than max, then we obviously update the value of max to keep it the max value. So I update the value of max to array of I. After that, I give the array of I the value of temp because I preserve the previous the max value in temp. So as question says, we have to check the remaining array. We are not going to include the current element to find the maximum. So here, if we find the maximum, if we find an element that is greater than max, then we going to store the old max in temp and update the max. And then the current variable I changing to the old max because we not include the current element as maximum. We are going to check the rest of array and in that we are find maximum and then replace it. That's why I replace the current value with the old max. After that, after this if condition, I'm going to apply a else condition, and in that uh, I'm going to update the array of I with max. So what this else condition do? If we arrive on that element that is already less than maximum, then we directly update it or replace it to the maximum because uh, the old max, because if this if condition not follows, then max is remains the old because it's not updated. That's why I directly replace it with the current element. And after that, and this after this ending of this for loop, I will going to return the original array because we already update it. Now the code is done. First of all, let's run the code and check if there any error or not. Okay, so there is a error. So I guess the this class is not ending correctly. Okay, so now run the code. So both case is accepted. Now submit the code. And now as you see, the runtime is 0 millisecond because of we are using the optimal approach and using only one for loop. That's why our time complexity becomes order of n. And in worst case scenario, we are traverse the whole array. So that's why order of n time complexity is must for this solution. So I hope you get this solution in your mind, and let's meet in the next question. Till then, goodbye.